In this video, we will talk about the Chemiosmotic Hypothesis. Chemiosmotic Hypothesis. This is a very important topic in the photosynthesis chapter of 11th class. And this hypothesis explains the light reaction of photosynthesis, which including both the photosystem 2 and photosystem 1, and how ATP and NADPH are going to be the final products. So this is very important topic, I'm repeating, and many times we got an MCQs, multiple choice questions in the NEET examination. So first of all, we have to understand where it takes place and how it takes place. So here comes a lumen of thylakoid. It's a lumen of thylakoid. There are two membranes. So one is outer membrane, and the other one inner membrane. Membranes. And here photosystem 2, and here photosystem 1, and here WSC, that means water splitting complex. So here is outer membrane. So this is an outer membrane of the thylakoid. And this is inner membrane of thylakoid. And the fluid that is present outside, is nothing but stroma. So that is nothing but stroma. The fluid outside is nothing but stroma. Coming to the space inside the thylakoid is called lumen of thylakoid. The space inside is lumen of thylakoid, and outside the fluid is called stroma, and the space inside the thylakoid, the space is called lumen. So these are the components of the membrane and chloroplast, inside the chloroplast. Okay, coming to photosystem 2 and photosystem 1, what they are? These are nothing but photosystems, which accepts the light from the sun. Okay, so first, sun emits the light in the form of the radiation, of course, EMR, right? Light is a part of EMR, and light consisting of the photons, light particles, accepted by photosystem 2, the chlorophyll molecules present in a photosystem 2, and by accepting light, excited state, chlorophyll went to its excited state, and at this higher energy, the electrons are accepted by primary electron acceptor, and then here electron transport chain, and through this electron transport chain, this electrons transported to PS2, PS1. That means this is nothing but photosystem 1. And this electron transport chain consisting of, so mainly cytochrome, and plastoquinone and plastocyanin. Plastoquinone, cytochrome, plastocyanin, then PS1. So during the electron transport from this higher energy state, higher level to this lower level, energy is derived. And by using that energy, the cytochrome is going to derive protons from the stroma, into the lumen. So the electrons are transported through this electron transport chain, which consisting of plastoquinone, cytochrome, and plastocyanin, then PS1. While transporting electrons from plastoquinone to plastocyanin, the energy is utilized by the cytochrome to derive protons from the stroma into lumen of thylakoid, And here some electrons will be lost. The electrons will be lost here from the photosystem. And then to compensate the loss of the electrons, the water splitting is going to happen. That process is also called photolysis of water. Photolysis of water. Here, the water molecule will be broken down. We know when water molecule is broken down, we will get hydrogen and oxygen. Am I right? Yes. Let's say one hydrogen atom. When it dissociates, we get one proton and one electron. Let's say this is hydrogen molecule. If it is hydrogen molecule, we will get 2 protons and 2 electrons. Suppose 2 hydrogen molecules, if 2 hydrogen molecules dissociate, we will get 4 protons and 4 electrons. The same thing is going to happen for every one particular molecule of chlorophyll. 2 water molecules are going to be broken down and 4 protons, 4 electrons and oxygen. This oxygen is a byproduct. And where these electrons will go? To compensate the loss of electrons during the electron transport. Okay, compensates. And now what are left in the lumen now? In the lumen, what are left? Protons are left. Here, protons are left in the lumen. Also, the protons which were diffused from stroma into lumen by cytochrome in the transportation, right? Electron transport system. The cytochrome already derived protons. Here already protons produced by water splitting. So the protons accumulated. The protons gets accumulated. And due to this proton accumulation, the concentration of protons is high in the lumen of thylakoid, as well as the proton concentration in the stroma is less. So the protons from higher concentration region to lower concentration region, the protons will be diffused. How they will be diffused? With the help of F0 and F1 particle. F1 and F0, F1 particles. And these 2 particles, I'll tell you what they are. This F0 is nothing but integral protein. Integral or membranous protein. Integral protein, which will offers the facilitated diffusion, which performs the facilitated diffusion of the proton from the lumen into the stroma. So it offers facilitated diffusion. Facilitated diffusion. And this F1 is called ATPase enzyme. This F1 is nothing but ATPase. When the protons are being diffused, okay, energy, like energy, this protons will be diffused, right? Okay, when these protons are diffused, that with energy, right? That energy is utilized by the F1. The energy utilized by F1. So of course, the protons when being diffused, the energy is utilized by the F1 to add inorganic phosphate to ADP to produce adenosine triphosphate. This inorganic phosphate is added to adenosine diphosphate to produce ATP. So ATP is one product, and as a result, the protons diffused into the stroma. And coming to F0, energy is not required because what is the process it is performing? Facilitated diffusion of the protons. No energy is needed. So finally, the protons diffused into the stroma. And here there is one enzyme is present, extrinsic, that is NADP reductase. NADP reductase. NADP reductase. Of course, the electrons from PS2 first taken by primary electron acceptor, and then plastoquinone, and then cytochrome C, then plastocyanin, then finally photosystem 1, and then here also primary electron acceptor, and then electrons reached NADP. The electron reached NADP. So this NADP reductase enzyme helps in or stimulated. Of course, it is an enzyme. It stimulates NADP plus H plus to reduce NADPH. So NADP is an electron proton acceptor, and these protons released into stroma, diffused into the stroma, added to NADP plus, and then it results in the formation of NADPH2. NADPH2. Why? Because two protons. Okay, so 2 NADP plus 2H plus NADPH2. Then NADPH2 and ADP are the two end products of the light reaction. And this hypothesis is called Chemiosmotic Hypothesis. Chemiosmotic Hypothesis. The main thing is photosystem 2 to photosystem 1 electron transport chain will be consisting of plastoquinone, cytochrome, and plastocyanin. The cytochrome, while transferring electrons from plastoquinone to plastocyanin, it will use the energy to derive protons into the stroma, into the lumen from the stroma. And here protons are added into the lumen. Again, here electrons will be lost. That electrons loss will be compensated by which process? Photolysis of water. Photolysis of water. Electrons are added to photosystem. Oxygen is a byproduct, and protons left here. So here protons, here also protons. Protons gets accumulated in the lumen. In the lumen, the protons gets accumulated. And here high concentration of protons. In the stroma, low concentration of protons diffuse across these membranes, and there are two proteins associated for the diffusion of these protons from lumen to stroma. One is intrinsic protein, the other one extrinsic protein. Intrinsic protein is F0, extrinsic protein is F1, and this F0 will performs or provides facilitated diffusion of the protons, from the lumen into the F1. And F1 also going to diffuse the proton into stroma, and while it is diffusing the proton, the energy is added, the energy utilized to add inorganic phosphate to adenosine diphosphate to derive ATP. And here protons are added to the stroma, and these protons are added to NADP plus in the presence of NADP reductase, which is extrinsic, that means outside of the outer membrane, will leads to the reduction of NADP to NADPH. So the finally the two end products of the light reaction, ATP, NADPH2. This explains the light reaction, and this hypothesis is called Chemiosmotic hypothesis. Hope you understood. Thank you very much.